People who quit a job in the heat of the moment. What shit show did you leave them to handle? Got offered a kitchen job by a friend of mine who was going to be head chef at a new place that was opening. Started there and it was a pretty cool job until about a month later when the owner yelled at my head chef friend in front of a dining room full of guests. So my friend put in his notice right on the spot and finished his 2 weeks where he was replaced by a new chef. New chef was nothing short of an artsy, always berating employees. Nothing was ever good enough, and he especially had a hard-on for me and was constantly giving me shit over anything he could think of. I found out that my chef friend got a spot at a big theme restaurant, guitars on the wall hint, that opened recently, so I requested half a day off for a doctor's appointment, went there and got hired on the spot, then called the restaurant and told the hostess to tell the head chef that I wasn't coming in for the rest of the shift and every shift after that since I was quitting. But here's where it gets good. I went back over a week later to get my last paycheck and the head chef basically cornered me, told me what I did was unprofessional, and since he heard about where I was now he was going to call my supervisor and tell him how unprofessional I am. Then he asked me the name of my supervisor, to which this brought a shit-eating grin to my face as I enthusiastically told him the name of my supervisor, who just so happened to be my chef friend who just quit and who this Nazi asshole just replaced. I swear it was like watching a big balloon that rapidly deflated. He just had a dumbfounded look on his face as he muttered out, "Oh, well, tell him I said hi." The best part was that his assistant chef was nearby, who really wasn't fond of him either, and he was trying to keep from busting out laughing. Walked out of there feeling like a boss. Bonus, about a month after I left, arsehole chef made the mistake of pissing off a dishwasher because he forgot to clock for his shift, and even though arsehole chef knew damn well he was there the whole time, he refused to make the adjustment and told him tough shit, you learned a lesson, meaning he just worked his full shift for nothing. Now this dishwasher was a big black dude who was built like a Steelers linebacker, so he grabbed arsehole chef in a bear hug and started slamming him against the wall as hard as he could. My ex-girlfriend was working the host stand and told me she kept hearing this dull thumping sound coming from the back of the restaurant. Then one of the kitchen workers came running up. Arsehole chef screamed to him to go get help, and he was laughing so hard that he couldn't tell them what was happening right away and had to catch his breath first. The place then folded about less than a month later. Famous footwear during the interview, manager wouldn't shut up about how she wanted the other person but would hire me just to give me a chance. Worked there for 5 shifts. On day 2 she went and asked my previous managers about my sex life. The one that really peeved me was she specifically asked my last employer, who was employing my roommate while my roommate was on shift, if I was sleeping with my roommate. On day 3 she got mad at me for doing something wrong after refusing to train me. I asked numerous times about pricing shoes. She would just do one silently without showing me where to look on the scanner or what exactly she was scanning or anything, and then hand it back as if she had retrained me. On day 4 she berated me saying if I quit it would royally fuck her vacation up, which was the only reason she hired me over the other person. But now she wouldn't have time to train a new person to cover her vacation, which was still 2 Monty HS out. My roommate put in notice at her job on this day. On day 5 manager hears that roommate got a better job. She confronts me saying I better not quit and then asks if I planned on putting in 2 weeks. I tell her I'd been considering because she refused to train me and she was asking inappropriate questions to my previous employers. She went off on me, yelling at me on the sales floor, telling me not to ever come back. She then put that she had terminated me in my paperwork due to insubordination and theft, as well as sending my one and only paycheck to the wrong address 5 times before I finally got ours to just cancel the old checks and mail it directly to me. Edit. My last day was on a Saturday. All except one of her staff quit by the following Tuesday. 3 days later, I accidentally brought one of the box knives home. I called asking if she wanted it back, and she threatened to call the cops if I ever showed up again. During the trying to get my check, I mentioned the questioning of my previous employers. They said they would deal with it. I moved out of town and never went back anyway, so not sure if she still works there. I did get my check, however she lied about how much I would be making, so I was about $30 a short because I was making 13 hourly instead of 14.50. Was so fed up with everything I said fuck that and just called it the amount I would willingly pay to have her out of my life forever. I worked 25 years for a large company in the sales division. I was making 6 figures and had earned my role as VP of the West Coast. My plan was to stick around to retirement, but then we got a new president. And the new president was an asshole to everyone. I saw one sales guy walk up all excited and offer a handshake to meet him. The president didn't shake the extended hand and instead said, "I can't believe you came here without polishing your shoes." The president gave a directive for me to stop hiring people with business or sales experience and to start just hiring attractive men and women. Because their good looks will sell product better than the educated words of a veteran salesperson. Plus they are young and work cheaper. I went along with this request and made 2 such hires. Then the next request came along, "Tell me who is the worst member of your team right now." I explained my team was #1 in the company and we're all doing well, but the weakest one 8-year employee who had a bad year last year. He was making less frequent calls and the quality of calls was dropping. I had to place him on a PIP to improve in 3 months. And he did. He busted ass, worked long hours and weekends, and moved into the #1 spot on my team. At the end of the 3 months, president calls me to discuss the PIP. I explain the great progress and that I want to release him from the PIP because he is on track now. The reply was, "Well, there's probably other things wrong with him anyway, so terminate him and document it. Make sure to hire a young attractive person as a replacement." I quit on the spot with 0 days notice, unusual for a white collar job, and told him to do his own dirty work. Now I work as a high school teacher, lol. The president gave a directive for me to stop hiring people with business or sales experience and to start just hiring attractive men and women. That doesn't sound legal. It's only illegal if you can prove it. They were found to be a great match to the new corporate culture and offered an excellent price/value proposition. I don't think physical attractiveness or lack thereof is covered by the EOC. It's shitty, but it's not illegal. I worked in shipping and receiving for a health food store. Over the past 5 days everyone else had quit, including supervisors and department heads. I was working a frozen shipment, my regular job. Dairy came in. Cheese came in. A bit over $130k. Huge fancy cheese in whole wheels. A large generally organic dairy shipment. I refused to sign any damn thing. GM demanded I sign and put it away. Signing was already out of my pay grade. Those numbers made it way the hell out of my pay grade. He then demanded I put it all away. It would have taken the rest of my shift for my own work. I just quit. F it. Had he signed it in and it all went to waste. He was fired. I spent some time working at a gas station where my supervisor would take about 20 smoke breaks a day while demanding that the rest of us work harder. After several days of this and my boss not doing anything about it, I quit in the middle of a pizza order rush. Edit. Yes, it is Cass's. For some reason, I was reluctant to give away the real name at the time of writing this. There was a pizza order rush at a gas station. Was it a side of the highway rest stop? A lot of people will make a pit stop at Cass's because of its pizza slices. I even saw one guy picking up a whole pizza to key it from Cass's. They're grease bombs, but pretty tasty for gas station pizza. I was a hostess for dinners in Arkansas. The waiter/waitress continuously degraded me, and on top of that, my manager is a functioning alcoholic. The cash registers broke trillions of times, and I kept getting yelled at for shit I literally had no control over. One day the registers went down the same day the act went down. I had plenty of people coming up yelling at me because I wasn't getting tickets out, nor was I getting anyone cashed out. People were piling up. I was getting yelled at because I wasn't sitting people fast enough, because I was dealing with those who had exact change, so I could get them out and put it in the register when it came back online. Suddenly, I heard one of the waitresses comment on how red my face is. "I'm dehydrated," I replied, as I'm not allowed to have drinks up front. I had a water bottle hidden, but I could only take a few stealthy sips an hour. A waitress found it during the ocean of people raising hell with me and took it from me. I lost my shit and quit later that day. I left midway through the ocean of people to attend to my mom during her doctor's appointment. Dennis is funny online, but every Dennis I've encountered is a real shit show. I had a job as a fairly niche field service engineer in it. Started off covering my local area, which was fine. Maybe an hour traveling time to my most remote site. Tops. Then they lost an engineer in my adjacent territory, and I had to cover that to put my travel time up to about 2.5 hours each way. That wasn't great, but it was temporary, allegedly. Then they lost a further engineer, and guess what? I had to cover that area too. That meant I was having to do up to 4 hours driving each way just to get to a site, and then they expected me to put in up to a full 8-hour day. I mentioned this to my manager and pointed out that if I was pulling multi-day jobs at a site 4 hours away, it'd be far better to put me up in a hotel, but they said nah, as it was unusual for me to do multi-day installs. Anyway, a month or so later, I was expected to put in a complete new system at a site, spaced up 4 full days to do it. High profile client, and I basically told my manager I needed a hotel. They pushed back. It's only 4 days, you'll be fine. Just charge them the travel time as worked hours. Which is fine, but I was salaried, and they were the ones invoicing the client, so no overtime for me. Anyway, on the second day I arrived at nearly lunchtime after a massive accident on the motorway held me up for 4 hours, and got a complete barlicking off the client for it. I thought, F this. Packed my tools, left the site with their old system ripped out, and a pile of unopened boxes of new kit, switched off my mobile and drove to head office. Parked close enough to the main entrance that the car operated the automatic doors, went into reception, and told the receptionist, very politely, it wasn't her fault that I quit. All my gear was in the car and here are my keys, phone and pass. Then walked out and got a cab home. Found out from a friend that they lost that client, which was one of their main ones, even after my manager basically spent the rest of the week installing the kit on his own, without any documentation, as I'd written the spec and accidentally kept it. If you want, you can join my new Discord, link in the description. Old one got fricked. Have a nice day.